Welcome to Focus Today. I'm your host, Perry Atkinson. And of course, lately we've been kind of scratching our heads. What's going on with Meta? Why is it backing away from censorship, basically Instagram and Facebook? Well, we are so honored to have with us today Bill Walton. He's also known as the Unwoke CEO. He's the host of the Bill Walton Show. He chairs the Resolute Protector Foundation, which is a 501(c) media production company that creates and produces original educational entertainment content. In 2015, he served as chairman of the Tea Party Patriots. 2016 and 17, he led the agency action and the landing teams for all of the federal economic agencies for Donald J. Trump transition team. He does have a website, BillWaltonShow.com, and there's a picture of the landing page, BillWaltonShow.com. Bill, thanks for your time. Good to see you. Happy New Year.
Great seeing you. Thanks for having me on.
You bet. Wow, a lot to talk to you about. So what's going on with Meta? Why the switch?
Well, Donald Trump was elected. That's a short answer. We could go. We'll go a lot deeper into it, but yeah, Meta, Mark Zuckerberg's firm was notorious for social media censorship. I mean, they were one of the firms that the White House was talking to directly during the COVID crisis to tell them who to shut down, what to censor, what to enterprise. In fact, Meta went so far, and I think a lot of the other social media companies fell into this, to hire ex-FBI and intelligence service people to be on their payroll. They were that tightly coordinated with the federal government. So, and then we have Mark Zuckerberg, who solemnly comes out 2 years ago to say we would never censor Facebook, would never engage in that activity. And then last week, of course, he comes out and says we've decided to stop censoring. And what's changed? What's changed is I think Mark's I can't go to the depth of his heart and what his ultimate motivations are, but as a businessman, I think he recognized that people were coming after his business model, and he had to make some big changes to protect himself. And I think he's still probably vulnerable for some of the things he did during the Biden administration.
A couple of things there. He was the only one of the social media CEOs that stood up during that hearing in Congress and turned around and apologized to the family. I think it just kind of shed a shockwave. So something was happening in his head at that moment, don't you think?
I think he's going through some sort of transformation. You know, he appointed Dana White, who I think it's Ultimate Fighting Championship, vastly successful entrepreneur, millions of followers, best friend of Donald Trump, nominated Donald Trump at the Republican committee or convention. But the thing is, during this time, Mark has also taken up the same kind of martial arts. And some people say he's changed a lot, and his confidence level and his personality has changed somewhat because of that involvement. And he has become best friends with Dana White. And I wouldn't say best friends, but they know each other. And he's invited Dana onto his board. You don't put somebody in your boardroom like Dana White, who's sort of next to Donald Trump, the ultimate tough guy, if you don't expect that you're going to be implementing policies that are acceptable to Dana White, who calls himself, after Elon Musk, the ultimate champion of free speech. So yeah, I think there's something going on with Mark, but I don't do motivations all that well, but I'm welcoming the change.
Going from fact-checking organizations now going to community notes system, what's that?
Well, one of the things that they put in place was, and there are people that, and I'm one of them, who criticized Musk for doing this when he was accused of censoring people. He supposedly brought in arm's length independent organizations called fact checkers to monitor what was going on the Facebook platform. And they were, if you look up their pedigree, go on the websites, they are ultimate left-wing progressive sites that really serve to advance the interest of that agenda. What Elon Musk did when he bought Twitter and renamed it X is he got rid of independent fact checkers, and they had some as contractors and some on the payroll, and went to something called the Community Notes program, where instead of having those people checking posts, he has users of the platform weigh in on what they think about what's being said, and actually create a kind of a dialogue group decision about what's true, what isn't. It's a much better way to do it, and it's not perfect, but it's certainly better than the fact checkers they were using. And Mark has evidently the fact checkers have a union, or they have some sort of association, and they had a big meeting last week expressing outrage among themselves that they'd been shut down. Zuckerberg said he's moving with the few remaining people he has at Facebook down to Texas, where he'll hire there in Texas as opposed to San Francisco, where he got mainly kids with purple hair and nose rings. But I'd warn him to stay away from Austin, because the culture in Austin is pretty similar to the culture in San Francisco.
All right, so boy, you've got a lot on the table here. Let me just ask you this: did the move by Musk in changing X, do you think that was influential in Zuckerberg's thinking?
Absolutely. I mean, what Elon Musk did with his $40 billion plus acquisition of Twitter really changed everything. He alone, I think, has changed the landscape for the social media environment. And now that he's proved that model works, he's got, I think, the user satisfaction's gone way up. Of course, the traditional media, which use that as an echo chamber for a lot of what they did, is up in arms because of his changes. I think Musk saw, or I think Zuckerberg saw what was happening with Musk, saw the relationship with Trump, and said, "I've got to get on this train."
Do you see the immunity protection going away?
Section 230?
Yes.
I don't know. I mean, it's Section 230 is fairly arcane and very difficult to figure out. Actually, I have trouble understanding how I want to think about it. Theoretically, it's supposed to make the platforms an independent of the content on the platform. But as we've seen, your ability to manipulate the content on that platform with these algorithms is almost complete. And so you need to be very well versed in algorithms and the law to know how to get rid of that. But I guess my short answer is no, I don't see 230 going away. It's too complicated, and I don't think there's a vote for any kind of specific change that Congress could come to.
Because I think what we have TikTok on the table here too, looking at all this. You kind of wonder, do parents have any protection of their children and what they're exposed to?
Well, I'd say no. I mean, I hate to give the blunt answer, but I think the protection is to, not let them use that device. If you want the ultimate protection, there are ways that using various blocking apps to limit the content on a phone, but it requires a lot of diligence on the part of parents, because an awful lot of bad stuff slips past those blockers. So I think protecting kids from the awful stuff that's on there is very tough.
Okay, I guess the other thing about Mark Zuckerberg's changing direction, I find it interesting that it gives me the feeling he was more in control of his company than we thought. I thought maybe he was just reacting to a board of woke people that want him to go this direction and be censored. But somehow he personally stepped up and took control of his company. It's kind of an interesting thing to watch.
It is, isn't it? One of the, people in the tech community have said he's always been pretty hard to read, introverted, don't really know exactly what he's thinking. And I can't speak to what's happening in his boardroom, but the only thing I do know is that by bringing Dana White into it, it's going to be a very interesting dynamic and presumably positive. I think Mark has always been in charge. Zuckerberg's always been in charge of that board.
Okay. Recently, he has said that the Biden administration was very forceful to him and his company and employees, even to the point of cursing at him. How does that occur?
Yeah. Well, there's a lawsuit. I think it's Missouri v. Biden or Murphy v. Missouri. It changed a couple of them. And in the discovery process in that lawsuit, which involved the censorship that was going on, and 3-4 years ago, they got hundreds, if not thousands, of emails from the White House to Facebook and the other social media companies, and also including emails with half a dozen or more other federal agencies, all coordinating the effort to shut down speech that didn't go along with the administration party line. And there's some almost comical emails from one of the guys working in the White House about, in no uncertain terms, telling that Facebook had better do what they're bidding, or else they're going to face. I think they actually threatened taking away their 230 protection. I mean, it was that direct, and they were really threatening to kill their business model. Could not have been more intimidating, and it worked.
So, Bill, do you think what they ultimately censored in the past over the last 3 or 4 years, and I kind of narrowed it down to 3 areas, primarily COVID issues, Hunter Biden issues, and Russiagate and Trump issues. There was censorship across the board on those 3 topics. Now they're admitting that they did censor and they don't want to censor anymore. So do you think what they did censor will eventually come out?
Well, that's one of the hopes with somebody like Kash Patel coming in to run Treasury, or not Treasury, but
FBI,
the IRS, and with some of the other people, Tulsi Gabbard coming in to head up the intelligence agencies, and obviously Trump in the White House, and a lot of other people inside those administrative cabinet positions that are going to be interested in this. All of our hope is that one of the things that Donald Trump will do within the next month or 2 or 3 of being inaugurated is to put all this out there, so that we can get away from a deep state, secretive federal government. I have a hope. What always happens, though, these people get into these big jobs, and then all of a sudden they get surrounded by people who say, well, we know we'd really like to do that too, but there's this consideration and that consideration. And I hope this doesn't get shut down by bureaucratic timidity, although I don't think Trump is likely to fall victim to that.
A lot of this is also going to maybe be a result of DOGE doing its thing.
Oh, Doge. Yeah. Department of Government Efficiency. Now, government efficiency, those 2 words don't often.
That is an oxymoron.
What a ring to it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I haven't read the piece yet, but there's something in the Journal today, it's something I've thought for quite a while, is that Trump, in picking Elon to do this, and Vivek, and Musk in particular, is not just a marketing genius and all the other things. He's a technical genius, a business process genius. And, my hope is that he's going to, and a lot of the tech community is volunteering to work for Doge for free. And my hope is they get into each one of these agencies and start looking not just at, the traditional cost cutting, the way an accountant would look at it, but instead they're going to look at business processes and all sorts of ways these organizations function. And they're going to find lots of opportunities to ferret out. There are a lot of activities these organizations are involved in they shouldn't even be doing, and I think that's what Doge will likely discover.
It's interesting to me, looking at the people for his cabinet, these are people that know how to read a balance sheet. They know what an ROI is. We haven't seen that.
Yeah, they do. I mean, if you look, well, let's do the Biden cabinet. How many people in the Biden cabinet had any private sector experience?
0.
Zero.
Yeah.
I think maybe Pete Buttigieg would claim his consulting was private sector, but anybody who's worked with a consultant is dubious about that claim. So nobody. And now we're going from that to a Doug Burgum or to a Chris Wright at Energy. Yeah. We've got some people who really know how this works. And then at the heart of the matter, we've got Russ Vought, who is going to be heading up Office of Management and Budget, who knows what he did the job last time, and he's coming in, with that experience, but also 4 years working with Trump to figure out what to do next. We've got some very smart people on our team.
One last question. The foundation, what is it your foundation does?
Well, the Resolute Protector produces my show. I'm involved with a lot of organizations. I'm vice chairman of CPAC. I've been on the board of Heritage, and a lot of, you mentioned the Tea Party Patriots, but there are a lot of organizations that need cash to help put out their message and help produce their product, and that's what Resolute Protector is about. It's cast a little wider net than the show, but I think the heart of the matter is probably producing the show and increasingly helping to get the word out through guest opportunities like this.
That's wonderful. You're a delight. Can we get you back?
You can. I like your show. I watched the first segment. You guys do a good job. It's a very nice feel for this. It's
well, thank you. Thank you. Well, let me say to reviewers, you bet. We'll get you back because you're fascinating. Let me say to reviewers and listeners, check out his website, thebillwaltonshow.com. There's a picture of the landing page, and I think you can find out a lot about the foundation as well. Bill, God bless you, friend. Thanks for your time. I look forward to many more visits.
Great talking with you.